Steven Soderbergh's new film Presence is finally out in theaters, and it's interesting to say the least. Steven Soderbergh is a filmmaker that has a very, very impressive and diverse filmography, you know, from the Ocean's 11 films to Magic Mike to more experimental things like Unsane. He has a very, very diverse filmography. Like I said, he's got a lot of things going on there. He's also a filmmaker that's always trying to like innovate and try and do new things, and this is definitely, you know, one of those things, one of those projects where he's trying something new, trying something out, and whether or not it fully works, that remains to be seen here. Well, I guess I'm talking about it, so we'll discuss that. So this film follows kind of like a standard haunted house film plot where, you know, a family moves into a new house, that they don't know that there's a ghostly presence living in there, and then things start happening. But what separates this from, you know, everything else in this genre is that this film is told entirely from the perspective of the ghost, which is very, very interesting. Regardless of what you think about the film itself, you have to kind of give the film that, you know, it's trying something new. It's trying to innovate, trying, you know, new things. And, you know, Neon, for some reason, is trying to market this as like one of the scariest films you'll ever see. And I don't, why? That's just deceptive marketing right there. I'm not trying to say this like,
oh, I'm so brave. I wasn't scared while watching this.
This film is not operating like a horror film. I struggle to even consider it horror. I guess in a way it is, but it's not, you know, there's no jump scares. There's nothing like that. There is a lot of tension and there are disturbing and dark moments, but I wouldn't go into it expecting, you know, long legs or, you know, Insidious or Paranormal Activity or anything like that. It's way more of a family drama, actually. This entire film, you know, besides the ghost stuff in it, it's entirely built on the relationships between the main characters in the family. All of the main family members give just fantastic, natural, grounded performances, and I really loved Chris Sullivan, who, you know, feels right at home in this genre after being on This Is Us for quite a while. This is also a slice of life film, so there's plot lines that are set up or just hinted at, but you never fully, you know, get resolutions to them. Luckily though, due to how just realistic and grounded this movie feels, despite the obvious elephant in the room, you know, this is still a film where you feel like the characters will continue to exist after the credits roll. So, you know, that whole thing didn't bother me at all. Now, the gimmick really elevates this film to just, you know, kind of another level. You know, it makes the film much more intriguing and thought-provoking, and it adds this layer of mystery to it. You know, you're just thinking like, what does this ghostly presence want? How does it know the family? Is it friendly? Is it trying to kill them? Things like that, you know? Unfortunately, the gimmick itself also kind of worked against the film for me. Since this film is told from a first-person point of view, you can't really cut between scenes or takes like you would in a normal film. So thus, this film is just comprised entirely of really, really impressive one-ers. One-ers are just like really, really long takes, one take for each scene. Yeah. If you guys watched Daredevil, you know when he's fighting in the hallways? Yeah, that's a one-er. And I mean, just Soderbergh's direction here is just it's astounding. You know, the blocking alone is something to behold. Everything feels just extremely precise and intentional while also, you know, still feeling natural and kind of improvised in a way. It's just really expertly handled, and I have to give that to both Soderbergh and the actors, who are just, you know, again, amazing here. One of the first scenes is the family like touring the house, you know, deciding whether or not they want to purchase it. And so it's everyone all just kind of moving around, and the camera, you know, or the ghost, the presence, you know, it's moving past each of them. We're following different characters, you know, they're all moving into different rooms. And as a film student, you know, I'm just thinking about everyone's marks, timing, and there's just so much to balance here. You know, I can't even imagine trying to juggle this. You know, it's just really, really impressive. But like I said, you can't cut between scenes. That's just the nature of the gimmick. That's the limitation there. So what the film does when it needs to transition to something else, it will cut to black, and then we enter a new scene. And every time it cut to black, it just completely broke my immersion with the film. It made the movie very, very difficult for me to get fully sucked into because it kept resetting my focus. And it was just jarring. Again, I understand there's like no getting around that, but it ultimately made me feel just a bit conflicted with the gimmick itself. Yes, it is very interesting and makes for a thought-provoking experience, but it doesn't fully work for me when I'm actually watching the film itself. You know what I mean? Like, if it keeps taking me out of the film, that's where I have problems with it. My other main problem with the film is just the character of Ryan, played by West Mulholland. He is like a friend of the family-ish. He's friends to the family's kids in a way, but his character is very gross and creepy. That's the best way I can describe him. Most of his lines to me felt very, very cheesy and out of place with the rest of the characters in the film. Everybody else is talking, kind of realistically. There's a sense of, there's a grounded feel to them. And he feels like he's ripped out of like a standard horror film. And I'm not sure if that's the performance or the writing, but it just felt off, And I guess, of course, the character that he's playing, I guess it makes sense for him to sort of act in kind of a deviant way to them. But I think they pushed it a little too far to the point where it becomes almost satirical to the of characters like the one he plays. For a film where everyone is kind of like grounded and realistic, he feels extremely heightened in a way that didn't fully work for me. Which is a shame, because I love the characters and the structure for most of the scenes, just not the ones that he's in. There's multiple fantastic monologues here. I'm really impressed with Eddie Maddie, who performs just some really, really fantastic monologues. I just wish West Mulholland's character I wish it got a little bit more work. Overall, it is a very interesting experiment, and I think in many ways it does pay off. And in some ways, it does work against the film itself. I don't know. I just felt this film was fine. Nothing great, nothing terrible, but certainly unique and unforgettable.